Hello people of the internet, welcome back to the channel. Today is all about record collecting and finishing my collection. We're in the green chair discussion, so it's going to be a rambly video. So let me know, if you agree with any of my points or you have comments or whatever, please comment them down below. And I must get better at like advertising the channel, because I don't advertise the channel at all. So I don't know. Instagram is like a dead weight for me, and I never get any traction on there whatsoever. I don't know why. So I'm probably going to be moving, well, I probably might be getting TikTok back just to advertise the channel a bit. So record collecting for me is probably my most favourite hobby, and then talking about vinyl is probably my second most favourite thing to do. I love making these videos. So, but I wanted to go over some albums that would complete my collection. Now, record collecting as a hobby is always going to be something I'm going to do, so I use complete in air quotes, because you could be on holiday, you could be, like when I went to Manchester, it's a completely different area, and although I'm still in the UK, what's in circulation in the second-hand market up there in terms of vinyl could be completely different. And that's how I found that Oasis live album. It is a bootleg, but I never would have found that down here. It's only because I was in Manchester. And that is probably my most favourite thing about the hobby, is going into second-hand record shops and sifting through old record bins. And charity shops as well. Charity shops are a good one, but they, some old lady or some person not in the know, not particularly a lady, would go into a charity shop and they might just, give away some stuff that's actually really good or rare or valuable, and they don't know, and sometimes, a lot of times, the charity shop doesn't catch on to that, and then you end up with an absolute bargain. Like my ELOs, when I was in Warminster, last time I was in Warminster, I picked up an ELO album from I can't remember what charity shop it was, but that was like $5, and that in a second-hand record shop would have easily been 20, maybe even 30. It's a double album, and it's one with it's the famous one with the spaceship on the front, but I cannot remember what it's called. But that sort of, sifting through second-hand bins, you can find stuff that's never going to be released again. For example, my 12-inch version of my favourite 80s song, my brain is dead. We Can Dance If We Want To, Safety Dance, my god, I'm so tired. It's a 1982 12-inch version of that song with a fantastic B-side, and that's never going to be released again. It's never going to be reissued on vinyl again in 12-inch, because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Men Without Hats aren't really abandoning it. Well, I think they've given up, or they don't make music anymore. So it's just not going to happen. And a lot of what I'm about to talk about when it comes to albums I need in my collection are albums that probably will never be reissued, and hence why I haven't been able to get them. Anyway, we can get into them. I did have my phone to... Did I not bring my... Oh, I've got my phone. I've made a list on my phone, and I know it's not like, it's not, it's not professional, but I will... Oops. Where's it gone? I will get it up. There we go. So the first one I've got on here is the BDI albums. Now, for those not in the know, BDI were the remaining Oasis members. After Noel Gallagher quit Oasis, they continued the band on as BDI, and they released two albums, one in 2010 I think, and then one in 2013. And in my personal opinion, they're not like the best albums ever made. They're not going to blow your mind, but the first one was great, and the second one was brilliant. There's some banging tunes on those albums, and this is back before like the vinyl boom, if that makes sense. So like 2017 was around the time when vinyl started gaining popularity again. Because, I mean, I remember going into, about 2014, going into HMV, which is a popular music knick-knacky shop in the UK, and they had one section of a wall dedicated to vinyl, you know, and then when 2017 rolled around and I went in there to buy vinyl, the whole upstairs was all vinyl, you know, they had A to Z, it was brilliant, and that in 2017 was the vinyl boom. So back when these BDI albums were coming out, record labels didn't really release stuff on vinyl as much as you would now, or back in like the 80s and 90s, because people weren't really buying vinyl. Apart from like the, you know, the biggest audiophiles. So these albums are nearly impossible to find. Well, within my budget, you can get them on Discogs and eBay, but they're like $200. And they usually sell pretty quickly because they are quite rare. Now, I've actually been commenting and sort of messaged Liam Gallagher and sort of begged him to reissue these albums. Of course he's never seen it, never will, and it's probably never going to happen, but you know, that's just me, that's just, that would make my day. Now the next two, where are they? The next two are two sort of childhood albums that I loved back then, that were again, you know, well, the first one is James Blunt's Back to Bedlam. Now I know that might be cheesy to some, but I love that album, and alright, I'm a sucker for that song, you know, you're beautiful, it's true. But songs like High, which opens up the album, and Wise Men are really good songs. James Blunt had some absolute classics, you know, back in the day, 20 years ago. But this was around the time of like the CD boom, when having a CD was the big thing. And I had a CD player, and it was like the rage, but then you had like an audio jack that came out the CD player, and it plugged into this little plastic dog. If I can find a picture of it, I'll put it on the screen. But it was like a weird plastic dog that was a speaker and had a flat face. And then when you plugged the audio jack in and played your CD, the dog danced and the lights flashed up. And the sound quality was probably terrible, I can't remember. But back in 2005, that was the coolest shit you could have. And, you know, childhood me absolutely loved it. So yeah, I want that album. And then the other one is the All American Rejects, their third album, When the World Comes Down. An absolutely brilliant pop rock album that I would recommend to anyone. I think it's fantastic. And I love the songs on that album. Songs like Give You Hell, The Wind Blows, Sunshine, When the World Comes Down. It's an absolute classic. Their first three albums are brilliant. Now I own their first two albums, and for whatever reason they've only reissued those two albums. They haven't reissued their third one, and it really annoys me because I really want it. Their fourth album is also their last album, and that one I can take it or leave it. I don't really care about that album, but the first three were brilliant, and they haven't reissued their third one, so my collection, you know, feels empty. I need it. It's annoying. Now, also on the list is I've put down Prince's Vault. Now, I know that the Prince estate released some music a while ago. I think it was a few years ago. And usually when they do like an anniversary for one of his albums, they might throw in some demos and B-sides. But I read is it over here? It might be over there. I read the Prince's autobiography, which was brilliant. I love that book. I love Prince, and it often spoke about his vault and how he's got this sort of mystic vault full of unreleased songs and albums and demos that would never see the light of day. And although it's never going to happen, if some of that stuff got released, you know, I imagine that some of it is absolutely brilliant. Because sometimes people can be so up themselves, so big-headed, that they don't, you know, he probably thought, oh, this is rubbish, I'm not going to release it, but it's actually brilliant. You know, there is a term for that, but I can't think of it. And I love Prince, I'm not trying to belittle him or anything, but that would be amazing, you know. More, where's, I keep losing, my phone's playing up. Oh, well that was the last one. So, we spoke about Green Day, who's currently playing on the old record player. Growing up, I always thought that Dookie was their first album. Now, it's their first major label album, and anything before Dookie is nearly impossible to find on vinyl, at least in the UK. Most of what I've said here today, you know, obviously applies to the UK. And stuff like Kerplunk and 83rd Street or whatever it's called, you cannot find it on vinyl. And I love Green Day, I love their old punky stuff, and I'd love to pick that stuff up. And it's annoying, for a lot of this stuff, it's annoying because I would be willing to pay for these albums, you know, and the record companies could make money off people like me, but it just doesn't seem to come about. And the other one was their album Warning from, I think it's 1999, it might be 2000. That album's brilliant, and it's got Minority on it, it's got this, and of course Minority. I don't be the minority, I don't, you know, it's got some classic tunes on it, so it's annoying that I just can't get it on vinyl. So yeah, I mean, I've been rambling for 12 minutes now, so I'm going to cut it off here. Let me know down below any album names and stuff that you want to get on vinyl but you can't find, because we can suffer together. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon. Take care, everyone.